Okay, 21 days to go to the election, and of course, North Carolina is back in the goddamn news again. Alright, so yesterday it came out that armed groups of militia were threatening to attack or threatening physical harm upon FEMA in a couple different counties here in North Carolina. Now this just kind of came on the news. It was, and the way the story goes is the National Guard seen 2 truckloads of armed militia. I'd like to know exactly what militia it was, saying that they were hunting FEMA. Now, do I believe that story? No. To me, that was false news. What I do know, okay, and this is where it gets complicated and all screwed up, and this side, that side, false information, exaggerated information, okay, and people just don't know what the hell is going on. Alright, so what happened in North Carolina, and this is from some people, I've heard this from some people that drove into there, days after the crisis. Okay, they get hit. It crippled this area. Everyone's on their own. FEMA, I don't think, really showed up because it would be the Wednesday after that weekend. People said it was terrible. When they drove supplies that we all gathered and donated from this part of the state up as far as they could go, they said it was devastation. Personally, they seen no military vehicles. They did not see FEMA. A lot of people were carrying on about that. And yes, there was looting. There was problems. And there were communities that had armed people out there guarding the devastated property and running off looters. Now, all these small towns, you got sheriffs and that and a few cops, so law enforcement's overwhelmed. If they're alive, if they didn't get injured or washed away in the storm. So, because some of them townships, they're completely gone. Alright? So everybody was kind of upset. And, the looters and that, and I understand it. I understand the community sticking together. The same thing I would do here. If everything went to hell and there was no law enforcement, no power, no nothing, I guess I'd get together with my neighbors and guard the development or something, and yeah, we'd be armed. Okay? Especially if people were driving around attacking homes or breaking into homes that were abandoned and stealing stuff. Alright, so you have to understand the situation. So, there's no help. It looks like there's no help. The federal government didn't quite respond. So then I said, okay, where the hell is FEMA? Some politician or some guy gets on the news, well, we ran out of money. We'll send everyone $750 as emergency cash, which most of the people have no way of getting the money or filing for it, okay, because there's no electricity, no cell phones, no internet. So this made the government look bad, plus they said they ran out of money because they've been bringing illegal migrants in. So now you got a serious disaster. You got people out on their own, and you got the federal government saying this shit. Another hurricane on the way going to hit Florida. And, people go, okay, well, why doesn't Congress come back and vote and everything? And they're like, no, there's no need for that. So basically what happened is in the middle of all this, you had all these people stranded. You had the federal government lie. Then when questioned, the federal government starts bringing up, January 6th, all this other stuff. they're not helping and everything else. And then they didn't like the fact they're being questioned because they got caught in a lie. So now they go to where FEMA says, well, you know, our workers feel threatened and this and that, and you know, this is not a good thing. And then of course it gets worse and worse on their side because you know the government's lying. They're, you know, and people believe they're not doing anything. And the consensus here in North Carolina is who helped them, okay, during this crisis. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. The people of North Carolina believe in themselves and believe that it is people like me in the different organizations, the American Legion, you know, all these different fraternal organizations, and just the companies. I forget, Walmart donated, I don't know how much, truckloads of stuff. Okay, we rely on ourselves, and that's who it is. Okay, it has nothing to do with politics or anything. It's North Carolina people helping each other. Okay, that's the consensus here. Now everyone's got a bug up their ass and hates the federal government, and then eventually, after a week or so, they start making an organized response. Now my friends told me that when they went up there that Wednesday after that weekend, that the devastation and all that, but when they were hauling supplies up, there was another organization somewhere in Asheville that said that they would take our donation, put it with their materials, and then give it out to veterans, take care of veterans first. And the guy said, how can you do that? This is an emergency. He goes, this is brought up here for people who need it. Veterans or no veterans or whoever they are, this is why we donated it. And then eventually, you know, they tried to commandeer the supplies. Eventually they brought that trailer load of stuff to a church and dropped it off. Actually, there's another individual, this woman, she's driving up there as we speak today to drop off another trailer of donated stuff. And again, it's going to some sort of a church or staging area that is well known. You know, and like they say, if you want to help, call ahead and find a place that'll take you. Find a place you could get to, number one. You know, just don't drive out there by yourself handing out stuff. Take it to a place that's in this system of recovery right at the moment. So, you got the people here got an attitude already. FEMA comes in, and here's another thing, and they got to make it look good. Okay, so that's where they fabricate a lie and all of this horse shit about armed groups of militia threatening to kill them or hunting them down. Okay, I don't believe whatsoever. And of course, to make it good today, they caught some yahoo that came down and gave him a ration of shit, and he had a rifle and pistol on him, and he was arrested. So there is law enforcement there. And this murky story of an email from the National Guard said that these bands of militiamen, okay, were out there. And to me, it just sounds like fabricated shit. The truth is, there are people armed out there guarding their communities or what's left of it. There is some sort of security there, okay? And they had that one guy running through these roadblocks, telling them, you don't have a badge, you have no authority, this and that. Well, they just want to know who the hell you are. And when I commented on this guy's video, I'm the local here. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? If you're the local there, then you should know people in this community. You should be able to stop your vehicle. If you don't know who's on the roadblock, you should be able to find somebody you do know in the community, if you're a local, and ask them what's going on. Who are these people? Why are they here? You know, my thought is it's just people getting together that control whoever's wandering through. And this is a problem. Even when people think they're doing good, just wandering through on your own is not a good idea. Okay? You should work with somebody coordinated with local law enforcement or whatever, or even FEMA, and help them out. Okay? Not just go up there to be a hero and videotape, and that's another thing that's wrong. There's one thing to cover things and try to get to the truth, but there's another thing where you push this too far and it creates problems. Now, I believe FEMA's exaggerating this, and this is also for political gains, because all the comments in these videos blame Trump, blame the Republicans, say that this is all Trump's fault, that our country's falling apart, turning into a third world nation of thugs running loose and everything, and all this other stuff, alright, which, again, isn't true. Now, another thing that brings up, another thing that people do not realize, if you watch these prepper channels, which I really don't prep much, I do have some stuff here in the house in case we lose power and that freeze-dried food and things like that. I don't have a bunker. I don't have a huge storehouse. But a lot of these guys on these prepper channels start correcting you on, here's the other problem. A lot of people were saying when stuff was going up into North Carolina, when FEMA did show up, they were taking the supplies. Okay? And here's a fact that nobody knows. During an emergency or crisis like this, okay, FEMA does have the power and authority to come in and seize or commandeer private property or goods to be distributed as they see fit, because they're the ones running the show. They're the federal government come in there. Okay? So what people don't understand is, like the guy said, ham radios. I'm not into radios. I did know people that had a lot of ham radios, a license. They were really into that stuff. Antennas and all this other stuff. They can confiscate your radios, foodstuffs, supplies, equipment like generators and chainsaws. One instance was some company sent a pallet of chainsaws. I don't know how many chainsaws are on a pallet when they come in, but the whole pallet they donated and said take it up there. So these people were going to an area, and they knew where they were going, and what the idea was, they're going to hand out the chainsaws to the locals who needed them to clear the roadways. And basically it was whoever was able-bodied and that, we gave them a chainsaw, sent them back up towards where they come from. And they said the idea was to get this in the hands of the locals, not under something, and they know the roads, they know what to cut down, they know how to handle a chainsaw. Well, when FEMA seen this, they tried to get this pallet of chainsaws. And what FEMA would do, now you have to also understand the reasoning behind why FEMA, if they confiscate these things like generators, chainsaws, they do have the authority and the power to do that. Well, this was aggravating a lot of these people. They show up a week later and they start taking stuff and telling them what to do. So you see the conflict. Okay? Now, FEMA's in there doing their job, coordinating stuff with the military, and, them Chinook helicopters are not privately owned helicopters. I doubt there are very few of them out there in civilian hands, and so this is coordinated with the military. I can see the point of view from FEMA of, okay, you got a pallet of chainsaws. Well, we got some people stuck way the hell up on top of a mountain, isolated, and they're bringing them heavy-duty helicopters in there to resupply them. Okay, if they got 100 chainsaws, they're going to take so many of them and send them there, send the water there, take some of the water out of these big stockpiles in these different places and send it there, because that's the emergency. They're coordinating this. That's their job. But the problem is, everyone's got an attitude the federal government has A, neglected them, B, lied to them, and is using money supposedly for these emergencies for something else. And when you bring that up with them, it upsets them because they're lying about what the hell they're doing and how they're running the country. So now you got a group of people with an attitude, and you got, after 2-3 weeks, the federal government is showing up doing what they're supposed to do. Okay? So you can see where people are angry. So the government, whenever it's caught lying and doing corrupt things, has to immediately say that these are Trump supporters who are armed, lunatics running loose, threatening to kill federal employees. Okay? And they must be removed, that this is a crisis, and it only harms the people that are stranded there and stuck because we had to pull our people out of there. Okay? So, in my opinion, it's just showing how our society is so screwed up, okay, that we're killing ourselves. We're attacking ourselves, okay, and making everything far worse. Okay, they shouldn't be putting this shit out on the news about armed militia groups. I don't even know if they have militias there. I remember the militia movement years ago, okay, and basically, the idea of it, what do you do? Okay, when everything's falling to shit, the government ain't there to help you. You protect yourself. Okay? I mean, that's all you can do. And they want to stop militia movements. Now, why would they do that? Why doesn't somebody go there and explain things to these people, talk to them, okay, and try to get things stable there, instead of just saying, oh, we've been threatened, we're going to pull out, and this is a detriment to all these stranded people and everything else, okay? Somebody should go down there with the local law enforcement and talk to these people. Now this guy arrested, of course they got to come out, they arrested somebody, that he came and threatened FEMA. Well, you get people fed up, you get people in an emergency situation, and they become angry, and of course this guy had to go and run his mouth, and he was armed. He was promptly arrested and taken away. Okay? So, I kind of don't see the threat. It wasn't like a whole platoon showed up to overwhelm the FEMA thing and all this other crap. Okay? So it's all, to me, it's all bullshit. And it comes back to Hurricane Katrina. Okay, there were a lot of things that went on during this crisis that made no sense. They went and built all of these trailers to house these people in emergency housing, and these people got angry, burnt the trailers down, destroyed them, and wouldn't move into them. And you're wondering why. It's a disaster. They're giving you shelter. Why wouldn't you do it? Well, I believe, and it was never verified or clear, that what was going on during Hurricane Katrina, and there were people that were not the National Guard or something being used to search and clear these people out of these homes. I believe the crux of the matter, again, was in that state, they voted back in 1908 never to raise the property tax. So there were districts and areas there in New Orleans that these people are paying property tax from 1908. This is why the city government, the state government's kind of broke, doesn't have any money. So what I think they needed to do is this section, an area of residential homes, they were going to declare a disaster area, wipe these areas out, bulldoze all the homes, then rezone it as commercial property, and then they can build something on there that'll make money. So all of these people that are living on the cheap, been living in them neighborhoods for a long time and don't have to spend a lot of money, don't have to worry about making a shitload of money to keep their home, are going to be out. And it kind of looked like they were looking to move these people away. I mean, a lot of people were evacuated to Texas and left there. Nobody moved into these trailers. For years, there was these huge lots of these trailers that these people refused to move into. And you're wondering why. Your house is underwater, they're giving you somewhere to live, why wouldn't you go there? So there's something missing from this, and I can only assume that this was a ploy to remove these people from this area, to change the zoning and use of the area after they eliminated these residential areas, and they were trying to evict these people some way. Okay, they'll never say that to you. I have no evidence of it or nothing, but that kind of seems like what the hell was going on. Okay? So, that's about the best way for me to explain all this. I really don't like the way that they're portraying armed militia groups hunting down FEMA. That I believe is an exaggeration. They probably had, when FEMA come to tell people in their area what to do, there may have been some people that told them just to get out, we don't need you. Okay? And yes, there are a lot of people armed crawling around out there. That's just the way it goes. This is America. Okay? But the problem I see is nobody with any sense is trying to go and just talk to people. I see this all the time. Like there's some guy that makes all these things about the cops being put in their place and told this, and what we have as a society, you know, the police stop a car, or the police are there, and this Nimrod comes up and starts filming, and he starts getting closer, and the police go, look, stand back, you're screwing up our investigation, you're interfering with our ongoing investigation. Well, it's my First Amendment rights to film. And the one cop asked him, why are you filming this? He goes, this person is having an emotional issue here, and we're trying to assist them. And it really isn't, polite or in good taste to film somebody like this. He goes, we're just helping this person, and we're going to get them treated. I don't need you filming this. I really don't like that. Well, freedom of speech, fuck you, and this and that, and everything, attack the cop. And another one, they surround the cops, he's trying to film it, and they're telling him, get back, get on the sidewalk, don't come up trying to film this. And the idea is he's going to film the police doing something wrong, and like the paparazzi, have the thing on tape and be famous. Now, another thing, too, is every single cop is wearing a body camera. Okay? Which are supposed to be on. Okay, and this is public information. There's a reason the police wear them cameras. So if they're wearing body cameras, what the hell is you filming at? And then start getting into an argument with the police over standing there, when you should just mind your own damn business. Okay? This is a problem in our society. And you got too many people pushing this whole freedom of speech and this and that. You keep doing crazy shit like this, and they will. And they're talking about eliminating the First and Second Amendments, or just getting rid of the Constitution altogether. Okay? People should think about their actions. Right? There's a time to step forward, and there's a time where all you're doing is making things worse. Okay? And that's what we're seeing right now. I think it's an insult to say that there are armed groups of militias running around my state, which I don't believe whatsoever. There are people that are armed, protecting their property, and they do have an attitude towards FEMA. Okay? And part of that problem is their own damn lies and stupid shit that they put out on the news. Alright? Not the fault of the people. And, you know, you can only lie to people so long, push them around so long. You know, January 6th, yeah. Okay? And if people don't calm the hell down and start telling the truth, and just back off and not be, we're going to have a lot of problems. And, you know, like I said, 21 days out, it's getting worse every day. God only knows what's going to happen in the next few days. Alright guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.